Hawks had a really, really good win at home. Lots of good feedback around them, nailing what we worked on in training last week, particularly the backs. Really, really managed to execute with the depth. We did a lot of work on depth last week, particularly in them wider channels, and the feedback coming from Fletch over the weekend was that the backs had nailed that. I think Jack Bruce got a couple of tries off the back of it. So really, really pleasing. And also, they had quite a lightweight pack on Saturday, the Hawks, and playing Wath, who we had a bit of intel on that would be big, heavy in that middle of the pitch with the conditions, to come away having scored the points that they did and conceded so few again. They're probably back to that form that they had at the beginning of the season. I think that puts them 9 wins out of 10 for their season so far, so really, really good in terms of the Hawks. The ones, probably the opposite of that. A lot of what we worked on last week in training, a lot of what we prepared for, we didn't execute. Probably the opposite of the Driffield game a couple of weeks ago, where everything was in unison and we were all singing off the same hymn sheet. This week we didn't click. Whether that's a bit of complacency after 10 wins on the bounce, whether that's just an expectation that we turn up and it happens, we're not sure, but we'll train for that this week, because if we're anything like we were last week on Saturday, we'll come a cropper. But fair play to York. I know a lot of people have been scratching their heads wondering how they've gone from 4th last season to bottom of the league, and I think if they play like they did last Saturday, this week again, and again before Christmas the following week, I think they'll probably pick up some more points, because they were defensively a lot tougher than we probably expected them to be. So fair play to them. But yeah, we needed to be better. Created a couple of opportunities in the first few minutes, as the boys have seen in the review tonight. Normally we nail them. You know, when we get good ball in the 22 and we execute our shape, but for some reason on Saturday we just didn't click. That last pass, that last bit of detail we're lacking. Yeah, so again, start with the Hawks. Big one for them, back on the derby again, Broads away. Probably disappointed themselves last time they had a derby, really, in terms of the Broads one. Didn't turn up with that derby attitude, tried to play it a little bit cool, so they'll need to correct that this week and be up for it, because Broads will be up for it. Broads will, at home, they never give you anything. Teams who've played against them over the years will know that, so they'll need to be very similar to how they was last week, but probably up a level again in terms of the desire and the aggression that they bring to that game. And likewise ourselves, you know, we've got Sandal, that's a bit of a derby, bit of history between the two clubs over the last couple of seasons and things. Obviously they give us a bit of a touching up over there at the beginning of last season. We probably returned the favour with that earlier on this season, but teams are aiming for us now, so it doesn't matter where they are in the league, they're probably going to be saving one of their best performances to try and put that loss in our box. So we'll need to be prepared, we'll need to be ready. I'm sure they'll test us at the Mall time again, because they had a bit of joy with that early doors on Saturday, but I'm backing our boys for a response, really. We've had a pretty open review there before training tonight. Boys are left with no questions on what we need to do this weekend and where we need to be better. So I'm backing us to do that and be closer to our best on Saturday than we've been the last couple of weeks. Yep, so Matty was the Hawks Player of the Month for November. Really positive sort of feedback on Matty's development in rugby union. Obviously more of a rugby league background. The longer he's playing the game, the more he looks a real talent. And I'm sure if he can keep doing that month on month, he'll get a first team opportunity before the end of the season. His carrying and his defence is something that maybe as a backline we don't have. So there's an opportunity for him to take there. But yeah, I think the boys in the Hawks have really enjoyed playing with him, particularly as the weather's turned a little bit, gives you that ability to go forward, and he's training really well too, picking things up week on week. So yeah, I'm sure either if it's not this season, next season Matty will have a big part to play. And then with the ones, Pilch, I think the word to sort of describe Pilch's whole season, not just the month of November, has been impactful. His energy's gone through the roof. His positive contributions in terms of when he's on the field are tenfold more than last season. And he wasn't bad last season, but yeah, I think he's around the park more. His ball carrying's really come on. He's getting that little bit lower in the tackles and not getting pinged for the high tackles that maybe on occasion last year he got pinged for. He's having a positive impact on the team, whether he starts the game or comes off the bench. You know, Harry's kind of built the team a little bit this year where he's got that bit of a bomb squad element that after 25 minutes, 30 minutes, he sends them on. Pilcher's been really good at that, but equally when he started, he's led from the front too. So kind of bit of a theme this year where we've had a couple of props as player of the month, I think, back to back now. So it's up to Chris or Cookie maybe to nail it for December as well over the next couple of weeks.